Our chief guest, Dr. Xavier Britto, is a self-made first-generation businessman who started a small business with an investment of ₹20,000 with just 5 people. Now, it has emerged as one of the biggest logistic companies in India with more than 6,000 employees. Sir has 4 doctorates from leading universities in recognition of his contributions. The vision of Dr. Britto is to establish an independent logistics university. Currently, he is in a joint venture with IBA for upskilling and knowledge sharing. As an entrepreneur, he has founded and promoted Estelle Hotels Entertainment and Film Productions. His production house released the classic movie Master all over the world. As part of social responsibility to Seed Foundation, he has adopted 30 remote villages to promote women empowerment in self-reliant communities. It is indeed a privilege to have a person of his caliber amongst us today. We look forward to your enlightening words, sir. Over to you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
At the outset, I thank Almighty and my parents for this wonderful day. In fact, all of you must be really tired, either by listening to the speeches or presenting the papers. But I tell you, such conferences build confidence. Like you, I also studied BCom from St. Joseph's College. And for the first ever time, because St. Joseph's was not having post-graduation in commerce, I was asked to come to Chennai. Since I come from a very small town and all along studying in Tamil medium, it was a big disruption and I have to be resilient. For the first time I came into the city, everything was new. And you know, Loyola College, a lot of international students. I was rather finding it very difficult to go back. Then I decided what stands between possibility and impossibility is the determination. And I worked out my direction and I emerged as a gold medalist of Chennai University. Having done that, since my parents could not afford to make me to study further, already they are retired, I decided to bring them, because they were living in Trichy, I decided to bring them to Chennai, took a small house. But it is important that the blessings of the parents will always make us to grow to different level, which I have experienced in my life. I brought them here, and God's ways are strange. I wanted to become a government officer, and finally I ended up in logistics. Accidentally, because I was doing my LIBA. With the LIBA connection, I was working for a shipping company for a year, and then I started as a custom broker, and in a very, very small way. But tell you frankly, Today everyone is bothered about, what kind of studies we do, and we should also take up jobs in accordance with our education and so on. Having done because simultaneously I finished all the professional qualifications, MCOM, then I did my BA from Madras Law College, Company Secretaryship, and also MBA from Liga. With all these qualifications, starting as a custom broker was the biggest challenge. Because those days, most of them are less educated to be part of this profession. So when I took it up, it was a big challenge for me. And all that time I was thinking, with all these qualifications, why should I get involved into this? And what I am doing and so on. The amount of, because I have nothing to fall back. Today most of the youngsters, they think you should have appropriate background and also financial background in order to do something on their own as a startup. But this country has opened up as one of the strongest countries having a lot of startups. Those days we never had any opportunity to be guided by anybody else because none of my family members, even in the generation, was a businessman. So being a first generation businessman, I only know how difficult to start a business, to sustain a business and to maintain it without any type of assistance. But what I am trying to tell you is that if you have the will, there are possibilities. And those possibilities can always be converted into a great opportunities. And pandemic completely transformed the world. Complete disruptions. Then only many people understood the importance of supply chain. People think supply chain is just transportation, delivery, distribution, etc. Today it has become more technology oriented and more scientific and more precise. This supply chain disruptions, as you all know, made the countries totally confused, and thereby we started evolving. Lot of new things, new opportunities emerged. For example, I used to make all my marketing people, all my operational people to travel all over. But then only during pandemic, all this Zoom, WebEx, everything came up and it became an important tool for us. I found that there was an operational efficiency and also productivity increase. So I had almost more than 100 WebEx meetings since I have offices all over India and also we are globally well connected. So I found that we don't have to travel, so the remote work concept came up because of the disruptions, and disruptions lead to resilience. And I found a lot of advantages, and our staff could be potentially used for more number of hours. Even they start the work at 8 o'clock, end up by 9 o'clock in the night. So it was absolutely a transformation from a period of physical presence to the Zoom. And likewise, you find a lot of changes have taken place because of these disruptions. When I talk about Indian economic resilience, amidst the global transformation, India has become the fastest growing economy in the world. We should be proud of it. Do you know what is the size of our economy? Can anyone tell me? Today, where we stand in the ranking of the size of the economy? Can anyone tell me? Please be bold. Because you're all commerce students, you should be knowing about it. What is the economic size of this country? Still?
We are the fifth largest economy in the world.
Fifth?
Fifth.
Absolutely correct. Yes. We get back to the 7th place. Now we are in the 5th place with about $3.7 trillion. Behind the USA and China, Germany, Japan. And so, do you know that India, our Prime Minister has already categorically confirmed that India will progress to the 3rd place in 2027, which means this economy will be over by $5 trillion. This is the achievement, and pandemic and disruptions have made Indian economy absolutely a resilient economy. The reason being, if you take today the growth rate of India, IMF and World Bank have clearly indicated we are around 6.7%, whereas our neighbor, the close competitor, China, is around 4%, and the world average is only 2.7%. India has got an absolute growth path the next 2 decades because we are correcting the fundamentals, including the financial prudence and dynamic, eco-friendly, and because of the 3 important Ds: demand, demography, and democracy. India will have the highest number of youth which can supply to the world the labor by 2040. The entire world will be looking for the labor from India because we will be having the youngest population. The demography is going to be the biggest advantage for this country. So our fundamentals are so good that what our people are talking about, the fastest growing economy, is absolutely correct. And that is why we are getting more and more resilient to whatever is happening at the global level. Because basically when you talk about the global transformation, there are certain factors. They are influencing, or we would say interconnected. Basically the climate change, which are becoming a big botheration for us. Then the regulations, then the technology, then the human behavior. These are the 4 important challenging factors. As a business leader, I have to rightly understand the interdependency of all these factors. If I am not able to understand, if I am not able to integrate my environmental and social considerations in my business strategy, then I cannot be resilient to the transformation and global changes. So everyone is talking about this. In this connection, there is the emergence of digital supply chain. Even day before yesterday, our Prime Minister had spoken in France about this artificial intelligence. Many people are worried about this artificial intelligence because it could lead to loss of jobs. That is why I say artificial intelligence has to come with ethics. But artificial intelligence is also important because it brings in a lot of advantages to us, particularly in the areas of education, health, agriculture, and so on. That is why when such new things are coming up, there has to be a resilience, and the resilience has to be, you should be prepared for the new opportunities. If you have to be prepared for the new opportunities, it is important that you have to skill and reskill yourself to adopt yourself to this. That is why this artificial intelligence will give you operational efficiency, and more than that, it could give you analytical data, and those data are very important for our decision making. In future, we have only less time to make the right decision, and artificial intelligence is very important to give us the right data at the right time in order to have an appropriate planning and decision making. So that is the reason why the supply chain has to become really resilient. You would have seen it during pandemic, some of the countries were shut down, manufacturers were wondering where to buy, where to go, and it taught us manufacturing changes, diversification of market, and diversification of the product. It is because we need to optimize manufacturing only through proper supply chain planning, without which nothing can move. That is why you see this logistic industry is growing so fast. In 2019, this industry was only $190 billion. Whereas in 2023, it has become $435 billion, and it is expected in a couple of years, this industry will go to $635 billion, which will have an important say in our GDP rate. That is the reason why the government is making all efforts that everywhere the logistics cost has to be controlled, because India is one of the highest logistics cost nation. When the world average, particularly Europe and America, is only about 9% or 8%, we are as high as 14%, which is really getting into our GDP. So the supply chain planning and the resilience to the transformation of the global level has become very, very important. That has to be rightly understood. My dear students, any company could survive. They may say there are problems, there are challenges. But as a business leader, I always look at whether such challenges, such problems can be converted into opportunities. The opportunities can come in with our collaborative innovation and our technology, and also our consumer understanding. That is the reason why today in the world, everyone is talking about resilience and how we are going to march forward. The resilience is not to survive. The resilience is to evolve and to live and thrive. That previously we were talking in commerce, we have been talking about just-in-time inventory. After all these disruptions with the resilient economy, with the resilient approach, we have to talk about just in case. So just in time, now it has become just in case. If just in case, what exactly you are going to do? You would have seen and read in papers, there is a complete shift of industries because India is becoming a manufacturing hub. Our Prime Minister wants India to become an export economy, and there is an excellent and robust growth of logistics because of that. So naturally, when you make it, because China 20 years back started growing so well, it is because China is an export economy. Now you know what is happening with America is coming out with all that tariff. But India is looking at this as an opportunity because you would have seen in 2018, the same thing happened. Thereby, India's $50 billion export industry became $75 billion industry because we have taken it as an opportunity, even though the tariff rates have been increased and everybody is afraid of the depreciation of our currency against the dollars. That will only increase the exports. This is what the strategy they are trying to do it. So in spite of China's competitiveness, India can withstand because of our clear planning. And I have seen personally that many industries from Taiwan, Korea, China, Japan have been shifted to India. And I find many manufacturing hubs are coming up in Tamil Nadu, in Karnataka, Maharashtra, and NCR region. So every area is getting specialized. For example, if you take Andhra and Telangana, it becomes a pharmaceutical area. Chennai and around area is becoming an automobile area. Then you find Pune and Ahmedabad, all these areas are becoming more for electronics and semiconductors and so on. So this is a very good news for all our Indians because India, now you know the population is 1.46 billion and we are way ahead of China because China is now 1.41 billion and we need to give employment. And our government's approach is absolutely good. Unless we develop India as a manufacturing hub, the growing employment requirements cannot be satisfied. So, with all these disruptions, because Indian economy is resilient and taking its opportunity in a very positive way, we find we have an excellent growth rate and our manufacturing sector is growing because traditionally we are an agricultural country and it is important to have a proper proportion of the manufacturing in order to have a better output in the future. And finally, I can go on, but finally, there was a person, a businessman, wanted his sons to study and understand and to become a good businessman. And he sent him to the nearby place where there was a rich businessman and his house was a palatial house. And he sent his son. If the son went and met this gentleman, the businessman has said that my dad sent me. I really want to understand business and I want to become wise in terms of doing the business. Then that rich businessman asked his boy to wait outside, that we would call him. So the time is going, he was not calling, that gentleman was busy in his work, eating and so on. After some time, this person went, the boy went to him, sir, I have been waiting, it is too long, can I leave? Then he said, if you want to become a businessman or if you want to grow in your life, you have to be patient. And that is what made me to grow and mature. Then he gave it to him, a big spoon. In that spoon, there was oil. And this is a big palace. So he told him, you take this spoon with the oil, take a full round of this palace, and while going, you have to see what is the beauty of this palace, carpets and screens and so on, and come back, tell me what all you have seen. The boy went around. After some time he came back. Then the businessman asked him, what all you have seen in my palace, the beautiful house? Said, I couldn't see anything because I thought the oil in my spoon could spill over and I was focused. Then he said, again, I want you to tell me, go around, and what are all the beauties you can see in my palace. Again, with the spoon of oil, he went around, then came back and told the businessman, you have excellent carpet, excellent lighting, and beautiful decorations, and so on. But then the businessman asked, what happened to the oil? So naturally, how could I do it? Because I was looking at everything. Then the businessman beautifully replied, if you are doing one job or two jobs, if you are focused and if you are absolutely concentrating on the job, you can also do at a time, or you can do justice for both the jobs without any problem. Dear students, today, all of you will have to focus on many alternatives. When I started the business, many times I failed. Being a South Indian, going into North India, particularly West India and North India, the culture is different. And 2-3 times I failed. I lost money. I came back. As a South Indian, I couldn't understand, the mentality and the understanding of those people. But I said, I will never give up. I have come into this field and I have to prove it. And went back again on a third time. In the last almost 7 to 8 years, we have become one of the leading companies in Mumbai and also in Delhi. Unless you are capable of seeing alternatives, and if you try to take one at a time, in today's world, the kind of resilience around, you may not be able to achieve the best. You will have to focus your attention wherever it is possible. You will definitely emerge with the right approach, then your path will be very clear. Finally, I have to tell you, you can also become entrepreneurs. You can also do any startup company. What is required is confidence, you require discipline, and you require never to give up attitude. Which means in life, you should know the priorities, you should have the patience, and importantly, you have to have the passion. Today I am able to do better in spite of my education is totally different. I have nobody to help, but then still I am able to do better. It is because I am passionate about my profession, about my business. Same way, if you are able to be passionate about what you are doing as your studies, what you are going to do in future, which cannot be copied by anyone. So you have to be passionate. And finally, the last P, I always tell my people, perseverance. Keep persisting. And even, the river is very soft, very cool, but it can pierce through the rock. Not because it's by its power or force, it is because of its persistence. So your particular subject is not coming to never. See, when I was completely from Tamil medium, when I came first to St. Joseph's College, all the Catholic and other students who were speaking fluently English, they kept me away. They always said, "Come to you guys." they kept me away. It was really hurting me. Then I asked my eldest brother, who is too good in English, how to do this. I was the only guy I studied in country because I didn't want to study in English medium. And every day I spent this. Today I felt like to keep reading. Learn, unlearn, and relearn. That's life. So I spent a lot of time in the library, and I challenged those Canadian boys. Before going into this, leaving this college, I will become the best English debater, and I did it. Thank you very much. This is called the real resilient. I hope you will all be resilient to any kind of disruptions coming up in the future. All the best.